Paul, I'm looking forward to this weekend series. It's always an intriguing matchup, as rare as it is, the Yanks and the Cubbies. And I think that maybe this is what the Cubs need, wake them up a little bit. Maybe it's the Yankee hater in me that's saying that. But do you think the Yankees are going to keep this train rolling right through Wrigley Field this weekend?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I think if you're looking at it on paper, you probably still favor the Cubs as the better of these two teams for the long haul. But, the Yankees have gotten good starts from Masahiro Tanaka. CC Sabathia looks like he's now fully made that transition from thrower to pitcher. Luis Severino has been really impressive. I taught him everything he knows, and and then the offense obviously is a real beast right now. I mean, you just showed Brett Gardner. He didn't have a home run for the longest time, and then he homered twice in a game, and then a week or so later he homered twice in a game. I mean, and then tonight they're going to get Gary Sanchez back too, and he's otherworldly. I mean, he homered on the first pitch he saw in a rehab, so I think he's good to go. Didi Gregorius fit right back in when he came back. There's a lot to like about the New York Yankees right now, and being a guy who grew up in Connecticut, who is allegedly a Yankee fan. That some sort of journalistic integrity, not much, but it reminds you a little bit of that '96 team where it was like, the expectations were not super, super high, and yet somehow that kind of young core they all kind of meshed and they all kind of pulled in the same direction, and it wasn't necessarily one superstar carrying it, even though Aaron Judge is doing a heck of a job right now. It was kind of the collective that was getting the job done.
See, Sal, Paul and I go way, way, way back. Okay. And I know enough that I would have asked him, anybody else, I would have said, hey, then you should name your next child Luis, as in Luis Severino. But I also know that he wouldn't name his child Hideki because he promised years ago when his son was born, whoever was going to be the World Series MVP, he was going to name that kid. Right. That would be his first name, right?
Right.
Well, guess who was the MVP the year that your son was born? It was.
That's right. So I just dropped off Matsui Severino. I just dropped him off at school about an hour ago. He's doing great, and he gets. It doesn't totally fit, but I think it works for him. It's a unique.
Yeah, he's not getting bullied there in the playground at all, is he?
No, not at all. He's fine. Remember, his dad's a superstar. Remember that?
That's true. That's true. I will say this: there are probably going to be a lot of kids who are going to be named Aaron here in about 9 months. Aaron Judge is just lighting things up there for the New York Yankees, and
right.
A fair warning to all the fans there standing on Waveland and Sheffield Avenues. Actually, if you're on the rooftops, you might still be in danger. You might want to bring your gloves because there's going to be some rocket shots out there. But what are your thoughts on this sensation in pinstripes?
He's unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, I'm not too worried about the fans that are beyond the left field wall, because either it's going to smash and break the scoreboard, or B, it's just going to land at Northwestern. I think those are probably the most two likely scenarios. So, those in close proximity don't seem to be that much of a problem for Aaron Judge. It's the people that are kind of outside that half-mile radius. But I saw this guy up close and personal a few years back at the Arizona Fall League, and I was, calling games for MLB Network out there, and we're up in the booth, and I'm getting the scorebook ready and doing this, and I'm looking down, and I just hear whack, whack. I'm like, what is going on? I mean, there's a lot of pop in that league anyway, a lot of rising stars, but this guy had like a different sound. And I looked down, and from where we were, obviously up behind home plate, I looked down and I go, why is Giancarlo Stanton in the Arizona Fall League? So and he had that same kind of like stance, and obviously the build was the same. The power was very similar. And I went down to the field, and I talked to his manager at the time. And the way that the Fall League is structured, it's, there's only 6 teams. So there's a lot of different managers and coaches from different organizations managing guys outside their own organization. And I had asked the manager, I said, am I seeing this right? I said, I don't have a scout's eye. I don't pretend to have a scout's eye, but do I see Giancarlo Stanton in this guy? And he said, I thought the exact same thing. He said he's got that same kind of, obviously, the build and the power and all that stuff. And the adjustments that Aaron Judge has made from last year to this year are unbelievable. I mean, he's still striking out. I think last I looked, maybe like 24% of the time, but that's 20% down from what he was last year. His approach has been so good. What's impressed me most is probably the opposite field rocket home runs for sure, but a close second would be the base hits that he's just kind of flipping the other way, especially with 2 strikes. And there was an at-bat against Darren O'Day on Sunday, 9th inning, Yankees down by a couple, runner on base, and Aaron Judge looked at a couple of balls that were this far outside, and sliders from Darren O'Day. And last year, that would have been a 3-pitch at bat, and he would have come up empty. Instead, he drew the walk. His plate discipline's been much better. His approach has been much better, and his power, I don't know how much better it can get, but it's really impressive.